Greetings, Bat Family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can visit our website, holybatcast.com, or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, you'll find us. If you love the show, you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big, huge thank you to our patrons. Got to give a shout out to a patron and a friend of the show, Mr. Lee Ankrit. He's a good dude, and he upped his pledge, which was very sweet and unnecessary, but I hope you know how much it's appreciated, Lee. So thank you for that, Lee, and thank you to all our patrons. You guys absolutely rock, and we couldn't do it without you. So this one goes out to Lee Ankrit, and it also goes out to all you patrons out there. This one's for you. Lots of hugs and kisses. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm Andy DiGenova, your Bat host. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. And this episode, we are going to be, I know we just had an episode. I guess I'll just say that right up. I know we just did one. But when something exciting happens, we want to jump right back on the mic and be excited and share our excitement. And we don't want to wait a week to be excited, because then it'll be old news. And that excitement is the new trailer for The Flash, as well as quite a few little tidbits we got from CinemaCon around the DC films. So we're going to talk about some of the things that they discussed there, including Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Blue Beetle, the future of DC on film, but mostly The Flash, because we got new posters and we got a new trailer. Joining me for this fun, he's been on this show quite a bit recently. We love him, you know him. He's over from The Fire Rises. He is moonlighting here on Holy BatCast. Thanks to Eric for letting him go. It's Joe Fornarotto. Hey, Joe.
Hey, what's going on, Andy? Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for cheating on Eric with us.
Well, I'll go out and say it. Officially, I have left the Fire Rises because I'm an easy sell from you, and you sent me a Manscaped beard trimmer.
See?
And said, you know what? You can leave, Eric. I'm going to send you this trimmer, and now you're mine. And I accepted.
That's true. I buy love with Manscaped products.
And I'm easily bought. I will admit it. So I sold out. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm here now. That's just what happened.
As Eric Cartman likes to say, selling out is cool because you make a lot of money.
Hey, profit.
And here, not so much money, but, you know, grooming products, that's like money in the bank. There will always be more money, but you want to smell nice.
It was definitely well worth it.
All right, that's great to hear. Well, it's good to have you back, Joe. Thanks for jumping on somewhat short notice. We miss Jamie, we miss Brendan, we miss Eric. We love those guys, but hey, they've got lives. Unfortunately, you and I don't.
Not on a weekday. I mean, really any night. Once the kids are asleep, my life is free to do this.
That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, I put Harley down. She's sleeping in the next room. I'm sure she's enjoying the conversation, though, while she's laying in her crib.
She's thinking.
So, she is. We're getting her trained. Anyway, before we get to all the fun stuff, you're right, we do have to mention Manscaped. So let's talk a little bit about Manscaped. Guys, tax season is wrapping up here in the U.S., and you know what that means. It means that Manscaped is here to make sure your paperwork is done and your boys downstairs are having fun. Make sure you spend your tax return money on important things this year, like family, friends, and ball deodorant. Join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping using that promo code BATSCAPED. Again, BATSCAPED, 20% off, free shipping. You can't go wrong. So what better way to invest your tax return than in yourself? Manscaped has the full package from head to toe to make sure you get your money's worth this April. Only a few days left in April, but hey, it's still April, still counts. So we got the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. We got the brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 for ear and nose hair. You've got the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver. You mentioned the beard trimmer. There's all kinds of stuff at Manscaped. It's all great stuff. Check it out. Go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping. And again, if you're in the market for a trimmer, say it all the time, but I say it because it's true. You will not find a better trimmer than the Lawnmower 4.0. So pick yourself one up. It is absolutely worth it. You will not regret it. You got my guarantee. It's the guarantee means nothing. I'm not going to send you any money, but I promise you it's great. But use that promo code BATSCAPED, get the 20% off, get the free shipping, because not only are you going to get a quality product, you're also going to be supporting Holy BatCast in the process, and we love that, and we appreciate that. So please go to manscaped.com. If you get that tax return, buy something for your loved ones, but also get something for yourself. And don't forget that April is still Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. And so Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. So go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping with that promo code BATSCAPED. Don't just get your money back this year, get your swagger back too with Manscaped. All right, so you ready to talk a little DC, my friend?
I am ready.
All right. I feel like let's talk about the other stuff, and then we'll wrap up with the Flash. How's that? How about that?
That's cool.
So CinemaCon is happening. In fact, they're all watching the Flash in its entirety right now as we speak. I'm not jealous at all.
Not at all.
They're all sitting there watching it. Good for them. It's great to be them. It's fine. We can wait. June will be here before we know it. But anyway, it's all the theater exhibitors, and they did a big, huge WB panel presentation today, talking all the entire slate, things like Dune and Wonka and The Conjuring and The Nun 2 and all kinds of other stuff. But obviously, we care most about the DC films. And so Peter Safran, one of the co-heads of DC Studios, was there, but James Gunn was not there in person, we learned. He just recorded a presentation because he is very busy promoting Guardians Volume 3. What a weird world we live in.
The nerve.
I know he's a busy guy, but it is all good. And so here's what Peter Safran had to say. He said, and he's talking about the rest of the slate for 2023. So that includes The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom. He says each of these films not only delivers a stunning cinematic experience that uniquely highlights our iconic DC heroes, they also blaze a trail forward into our DC universe that we are cracking with our next chapter. So I thought that was an interesting note because he's being very careful about, like, yes, these movies still count. I promise. We'll see, but you know what? I appreciate the attempt, and I hope it works because, yeah, I think they're all still smarting from what happened with Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing with what they're doing with, like, because I think the skeptic in us is like, do we really believe them or is it just PR? And I don't blame them either way.
I mean, that's just it. Exactly. Like, I mean, we all said it's a tricky thing. You don't have to worry about guys like us. We're going to go regardless, but they've got to, they have 3 more movies they have to sell and commit to. And I hope they're telling the truth. I hope these movies all do somehow then play into the future of the DCU, but only time will tell. And what else are they going to say? It's not like they're going to say, no, they don't matter.
Nope.
We inherited them. Don't worry about them. Like, of course not. So, and all things are possible because the DCU is still pretty wide open. They have a plan, but I have to imagine they have contingencies in place for, the Flash is a big hit and Ezra got their shit together. And so, here's a plan with Ezra and here's a plan without Ezra. Same thing with Momoa as Aquaman or not Aquaman. Like, I'm sure they have all those avenues that they can explore depending on how these films do.
Yeah, I think that was the plan with Shazam too, probably. They just weren't going to bank on it. It was kind of like, well, if it is a surprise hit, we'll worry about that when the time comes.
Exactly. Absolutely. David Zaslav was there. He did speak and he talked about The Flash. He said he's seen it 3 times. He said it's a very emotional movie. To me, it's the best superhero movie I've ever seen. Which is nice to hear. But again, what else is he going to say?
It was all right.
It's a solid B-, guys. Please go see it in June.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's nice to see. They also did Safran addressed that The Flash has the power to change the past and the future, and that the film does reset the DC universe, which of course we all knew, but they're just putting it right out there. And Andy Muschietti talked about working with Ezra Miller, and he said they're an incredible actor, and the chance to work with one of the best actors that I've ever worked with. I discovered they're an incredible comedian and also handled all the action required for a big spectacle like this. They wanted to do all the stunts, and I let them. So, kind words about Ezra Miller despite the challenges that they have had with that particular actor. So, I mean, but it's true. Like Ezra Miller, despite all of the off-camera drama, I don't think there's any denying that Ezra Miller is incredibly talented in both comedy and it sounds like action too. So, I think all that's very fair.
Yeah, I only know him from Justice League. I have not seen him in any other films, but yeah, everything we've heard from him, even on set. I mean, I know there's always the few people that are going to come out and say like, "Oh, he was trouble on set," and we don't have any verified accounts of that, as far as I
What's
know.
crazy is for all of the off-screen drama, there have been no stories about issues on set.
Yeah, not from any credible people,
No,
as far as I
it
know.
sounds like on set,
Yeah.
Ezra is incredibly professional, shows up, does the job, no issues. And then they go to Hawaii
Hmm.
and drink too much and do God knows what else and get crazy. But it sounds like when they work, they work.
Which, let's be honest, if we all get like that when we go to Hawaii, we just we're not in the famous eye, I guess.
Yeah, I don't go to Hawaii. I just go to the Disney Polynesian Resort, and they usually have to escort me off the property. But it's the same difference. I throw
Yeah,
wicker chairs at people. It's a mess.
strangle people, same thing.
Anyway, let's jump to Blue Beetle real quick. They did talk about Blue Beetle. Apparently, they showed an extended version of the trailer that we have already seen. It sounds like the only real big difference is that the transformation scene they saw in its entirety, and then the rest of the trailer sounds like what we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
But they did talk about how it is different. And so the director, Angel Manuel Soto, says that what's unique is that Jaime's family knows about the powers and they're there for the journey. And he said, "Good luck hiding something from your Latino mother." And then Jolo Maridueña, who is playing Jaime, says that Blue Beetle is unique because it's the only superhero who doesn't seem to want his powers. So, seems like just quick stuff there, but nice that they got some additional footage. Good on them. I'm still feeling really good about Blue Beetle. I know that the costume was on display. I don't know if you saw pictures of that.
I did not see the pictures of that. Yeah, I'm excited for Blue Beetle too, just because I feel like it's not. This is gonna sound weird because I feel like every DC film has this tremendous amount of pressure. Doesn't it kind of feel like Blue Beetle doesn't have a lot of pressure on itself?
It really does. I think you're right. At least not right now.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's following the Flash, but
Yeah. But that's very possible. And again, like we don't know what the budget is, but we assume it's pretty reasonable, 70, 75 million, something like that, which for a superhero movie is a steal.
yeah,
So that's Blue Beetle. Again, nothing super earth-shattering or anything there. Harley is awake and crying, so I'm gonna pause.
I hear. Is your wife home yet or no?
Nope, she's not. So 1 second.
Yeah, like, do what you gotta do.
All right. Aside from Blue Beetle, there was a rumor that like Safran and Gunn were going to talk more about the 10-year plan, and that turned out to not be true. But they did talk a little bit about like, putting things together. Safran did, Zaslav did as well. So, for example, Zaslav talked about when he met with James Gunn, and Gunn was writing the script for Superman Legacy, and James Gunn said that the characters were really his family growing up. And Zaslav really loved that. And he said he wants to see these same characters be like family to audiences everywhere. And then in the video that James Gunn sent, he said, "I'd like to thank all of you for all your support over the years. One of the main reasons I took this job is because I truly, in the bottom of my heart, believe in the theatrical experience for film." And Zaslav said something similar about like they're no longer in any rush to get movies to streaming. They are committed to the theatrical model, which I think is great news because they should be. It is more profitable, and I still love the theatrical experience. So there's a lot of good conversation around that. But of course, I mean, they're talking to theater owners and exhibitors, and so of course they're
Exactly.
like, "We love you guys. We love
Yeah.
you. You're the best." Um, and they also apparently screened the first footage of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And so it sounds like it was pretty short. It wasn't particularly spoilery, but um, Here's what it says. Amber Heard was seen in a new white costume. Nicole Kidman was in there, returning as Queen Atlanta, seen in several action scenes, and Tamira Morrison also returns. And the story centers around Black Manta getting the Black Trident, which gives him great powers, and he is threatening the surface world. So Aquaman has to team up with his brother Orm to stop him. And it sounds like Aquaman, Arthur, and Mera have a baby boy.
That's the big one that I saw, and I was kind of surprised that they put that in the little clip and shared that. But yeah, that's exciting because I mean, that's clearly going to have a big impact on the story.
I know. So, I mean, but that is canon. Arthur and Mera do have a son in many versions
Oh yeah,
that I have seen. So it makes sense that they would go there. I do think that we all kind of assumed that it was going to be Arthur and Orm teaming up with what
yeah.
we had seen and heard. So to get that confirmed makes a lot of sense. It also makes a lot of sense because we know James Wan loves him some Patrick Wilson. And why shouldn't he? Because Patrick Wilson is wonderful. And so I can totally imagine that him being like, no, man, like, you're my Orm, and I am not going to relegate you to a cameo. You're in the whole movie. And this is a way that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I think you and Jamie even brought this up plenty of times when talking about the Aquaman films. It's a rare film where everyone survives. So like
Hmm.
you get Black Manta returning, you get Orm returning, and you want that. And yeah, to have Patrick Wilson back and that be the big focal point. And I don't know how close they're going to get to the comics, but man, if they get close to the comics, don't get too attached to that baby.
Uh, oh, that's true.
I don't
They
think they're going to go there. I really
I
don't.
don't think so either.
But that was the first thing that I thought of when I heard about the baby. I'm like, ooh, that's rough.
There were also some descriptions that I saw that said it was like it's very big, it's cinematic. There are a lot of locales, so obviously there's underwater, but they go to jungles, they go to
Mhm.
some place that's covered in snow. So it seems like it is a globe-trotting adventure, which the first one certainly had a lot of elements of that, and I am
Mhm.
all for that, and that sounds really cool to me. And I guess there was a line of dialogue that Orm said to Arthur where he says, "If you lead, Atlantis will follow." So it's nice to see them, you know, starting to patch things up. I think that could be really good. So I'm so excited about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Everything I heard sounds great. I can't wait for it. And I mean, it's easy to forget because so much has happened. But remember when it got delayed and James Wan, as sort of like a little consolation prize, shared all that concept art,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and it was so gorgeous and it was so cool and it looked so fantastical and colorful and epic. I just think about that and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait till we get our first trailer. I can't wait till we get a glimpse at all that. So all good stuff that I'm hearing, and I'm just jealous that they've already gotten to see footage and we haven't.
And I'd hope we're gonna get to see footage by the time the Flash comes out. Um,
It would be silly to not have an Aquaman trailer in time for the Flash.
I mean, at worst case, we're definitely gonna have it with Blue Beetle, but I feel like the Flash is so big. Why not
Yeah.
put it in front of the Flash?
I think that's exactly it. Is like we've already gotten a Blue Beetle trailer, and so it like, of course, you're still going to play it or a new Blue Beetle trailer before the Flash because it's 2 months after that. But yeah, like because the Flash, there's so much hype around it. It just would be smart to start promoting Aquaman then.
Hmm.
So that was kind of all the little bits and bobs. Oh, there was something that you shared with me. I had already seen it, but something that you shared with me that I think is also worth a mention. And that is a quote from our pal Michael Shannon. And uh he said he talked to Andy Muschietti about it and he liked him a lot, but he said, look, I just want to get Zach's blessing on this because it just doesn't feel right without that. And Zach, to his credit, was very understanding. He gave me his blessing and I went to do it. So that was actually a really cool extra little tidbit that I enjoyed too.
Yeah,
But by all
I
accounts,
agree.
Zack Snyder is a great dude. He's supportive of his people. He loves his people. And so I just can't imagine him being, you know, selfish about it, So it's nice to hear.
Yeah, it's respectful both ways. Where like I don't even think Michael Shannon expected Zach to say no, but it was just he felt like he owed it to Zach to have that conversation, and Zach was probably like, "Yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't you do it?" Like Zach might do things that a lot of people disagree with, but he's never been disrespectful to any other visions beside his own. Like that's just not the way he's been. So
No,
I
or any other people.
exactly. I mean,
Like
hell, he just did a whole podcast with the Russo brothers, and,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
great. And they were geeking out about each other's films, like the Justice League director and the Avengers director geeking out about each other's films. Like it was awesome.
That's amazing. And yeah, it's like his movies, don't like his movies, but there is not a single person who has a crossword to say about Zack Snyder as a human being, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And this just goes right in line with that. Is that, you know what? Like he gave his blessing because they were going to use General Zod, and we love that. So that's awesome. Anyway, let's get to the Flash because the Flash is the main event. It's what they've been pushing so hard. Again, they're showing it's in its entirety to the attendees right now. Um, the first thing we got was a new poster, and it is a poster of, you know, a full, like the Flash front and center, full costume, and then in the background, Michael Keaton's Batman and Supergirl, and they kind of look like they're amongst some rubble, but there's also the Batwing back there as well. What'd you think of the poster?
Um, Loved it. It's awesome. And then I'm trying to bring it up, and I the first thing that popped up for me was the international one that came out like what 10 minutes after that one. Did I think Brendan shared that one with us?
Yes, yep. There's an international one too.
I'm trying to bring it, but yeah, it's I know sometimes these Photoshop posters can get a little tiresome, but I think if they're done right, they're fine. And I think just seeing the imagery of the Batwing in the background with Flash in the forefront, and then you got Sasha Calle's Supergirl to the right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks great.
Well, and and not to jump ahead to what we saw in the trailer, but it seems like this is sort of a moment where the Batwing is no longer flying.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's a striking, beautiful poster. I always feel like the marketing team who does the DC posters always does a pretty spectacular job. There have been a few exceptions, but for the most part, I think they're always great. And this is that too, because this isn't like, especially the one of the three of them, like full bodied. I think the international one is a little more of the photo bash Photoshop
it's
thing.
more like the floating heads posters that we get
Yeah,
a lot, where they don't tend to do them, which thankfully.
exactly. But at this one of the three of them standing there facing off,
Hmm.
it's awesome. Like I just think
Yeah.
they all look great. Everybody looks great. I I'm really in love with this Flash costume. I know not everybody agrees with me, but I just think it looks so good. And the more we see of it, the more I like it. Even the helmet, that was the one part that I know doesn't work for everyone. And even I, like in some shots, especially before we got the full trailer, some shots you're like, oh, the helmet is a little wonky. But the more I'm seeing it, like in this poster and in the new trailer, where I'm like, no, man, I think it works. I think it's really good.
It seems like in some angles it looks odd, but I think when you
Yes,
see it in the
yes.
film and when you see it in motion, it looks fine. As things are going on, you're not like staring at it from a certain angle.
I think you're right. I think from a couple shots, couple angles, it does look a little wonky, and that's totally fair. But for the most part, again, the more I'm seeing of it, the more I'm like, no, I get why they approved it because it looks pretty good 90% of the time.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing. Like if you see it from the right angles, it looks perfect. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the cowl is or the helmet, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's bad at all. I really like the suit.
Yeah, the suit I think is terrific. So, and then this morning, I think before we even got the poster, we got this screenshot of our Flash. Let's call him our Flash. And then you've got kind of alternate Barry. I don't know if we call him young Barry, but essentially the Barry with the makeshift Flash suit used from an old bat suit. We've got him. And then dead center, we've got Supergirl. And that was a still that came out. And I was like, oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
So cool. And in that shot, I feel like the new sleek Flash suit is the best it has ever looked. And I think it looks amazing in that shot.
And I'm sorry, I love the I love the Batman Returns flash suit. I think it's
I
such a cool
yeah,
idea. Like everyone's like, "Oh, it looks so stupid." It's supposed to. That's what makes it awesome.
and yeah, like it's supposed to be funny. Exactly. Like yeah, no kidding. Like I like it too. I think it's goofy and it's fun and I love that idea. I think it's cool. So yeah, that shot of the three of them, I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." And then we get to see it in motion in the trailer. So you mentioned there was also the international poster. I thought it was cool. I didn't like it as much as I liked, I guess, would be the domestic poster of the three of
Mhm.
them, but it was still cool. And then we got the trailer at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific Standard Time. um, and now we officially have trailer 2. So, Joe, what'd you think?
I was curious before we saw it what new stuff we would get. We were talking about, would there be enough to even cover it? And we figured you were going to cover it at some point. But I um I think I love the fact that we got some new stuff, we got some new plot points, but it's still holding back enough where it's not like we saw anything in this trailer where we're like, like that gave us so much more than we already got from the first trailer.
Mhm.
Which is really hard to do today with these trailers because man, they love giving so much stuff away. But like as far as the plot goes, I don't think we really got anything more from the plot in this trailer.
Yeah. You're so right, and I mean, I think that we all had that concern. And going into this trailer, it's like we had this this conflict of emotions where we're so excited to get a new trailer because we're excited about the movie. We're so excited to see more, but then we're afraid they're going to show us too much and spoil stuff that we don't want to see until we see the movie. But they've got to show us enough new stuff that it's not just a retread of the trailer we already saw.
Yeah.
And how do you thread that needle? And I would say they threaded it pretty damn well.
Well, I have a question for you. With the way this trailer started, with the slow monologue from Michael Keaton's Batman, didn't this feel like the two trailers were actually flipped? Where like this could have been the first trailer because most of the time when you get these trailers, the first trailer is the one that's a little bit more of a slow burn, like a tease, where maybe they switched them because they wanted all the action stuff for the Super Bowl trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
this,
could I could see it both ways, honestly. I totally understand your point. I get what you're going for, but you're right. Like they really wanted to sell the sizzle for the Super Bowl, and so
yeah,
I get it. And I feel like both trailers have enough character moments amongst all of the spectacle and super heroics that I
hmm
think they both work in whatever order you want to do it.
yeah, it's
So,
like they
but I
balanced it
get,
really
but I do
well.
get what you're saying because of the slower build at the beginning of this one.
Because usually the second trailer is known as like what the plot trailer,
Yeah.
and I don't think it gave away too much more of the plot than the first one did.
No. And I think that's just it is again, like I think they're very careful about what they are showing us. And they knew they had to show us new stuff, but I think they are again strategically cutting around things.
hmm
Um so what we get is we essentially get more moments from the same scenes that we got in the first trailer.
Yep, very good
Does that
point.
make sense?
Yeah, because I mean, it's like spliced in between, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's what it is it's like, oh, with the first trailer and this trailer, you kind of see how these scenes work together because a lot of
hmm
them are from the same scenes. We're just getting different dialogue or additional moments, but I think that was a smart way to do it. I truly believe we've seen nothing from Act 3.
hmm
I feel that just watching the trailer, but I've also heard murmurs about that. And again, you never know what people know and how much people are just BSing, but that seems to be the consensus. And it makes sense when you watch it. And I hope that's true. I hope that they are preserving a lot of surprises and cool things for us. Um, for June 16th. But for now, they still give us plenty to get excited about in this trailer. We get additional shots of the Flash and how cool he looks and how great the suit looks. And it still is very much focused on And the first trailer did it too, of like what happened. He went
Yeah.
back in time to save his parents, and it had these unexpected consequences, and now he has to try and correct it. And they gave us that in the first trailer, and they're giving it to us again. And I think it's smart because for the general audience, we got to make sure that they understand why this Flash is palling around with Michael Keaton. And the general audience is much more understanding and kind of in the loop as far as multiverses go, because it's the go-to thing these days. Everyone's got a multiverse now.
Yeah.
um, but I do think it's smart to just at least lay out that premise again, so everybody is kind of understanding what's happening.
Well, and the whole thing with, oh, you want to know why Batman is in the Flash movie? Well, here it is. It's because they have this connection of losing their parents. And
Hmm.
we're going to invest, you're going to want to invest in these characters emotionally. And the little bit of emotion you got in the first trailer, we're going to beat it home here. And they do that. And that's what I really want out of this film. And we keep hearing that word emotion or emotional from everyone that talks about this film. And I think that's what's most exciting for me. I mean, yeah, we're here for the great action scenes and all that, but if it doesn't have those emotional beats, I think it just doesn't resonate as much. So, especially with a character like the Flash, with everything that he's gone through with his mother's death and his father being framed for the murder, and the stuff we've seen in Justice League that alludes to that, and just the stuff we know from the comics that I'm sure they're gonna put into this. I'm really excited for where they're going. I mean, we don't even know the obvious, like, they definitely alluded to a lot of Flashpoint stuff in this trailer, a lot of homages from scenes in particular. um and one thing I haven't really noticed anyone discuss or bring up, the obvious like elephant in the room of, well, someone had to have killed Flash's mom.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true.
And that's the obvious Flashpoint connection here. And I can't wait to dive into that with the film on June. What is it, June 14th or 16th? 16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't wait to dive into that kind of stuff, because that's the stuff it's either going to be the obvious stuff, which is going to make us happy, or it's going to be a complete surprise, which should make us happy also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. And it's funny that totally did cross my mind as I was watching this today. Is it's like, who does kill the Flash's mom in this movie, in this continuity? Because you're
Exactly.
right, they're not addressing it, and we know who it is in Flashpoint, but
Hmm.
I'm not holding my breath for that to be the case here. So then who?
Yeah, like, are they going to go the robber route, or are they going to go the Reverse Flash route? There are so many different ways you can go. Or was it a robber and then Reverse Flash goes back and kills her? Like, the Flash's origin is very. I mean, I don't want to say convoluted, but it's it's pretty crazy and pretty elaborate when it comes to the
Well,
time travel stuff.
especially the new version, right?
The Flashpoint version, which is
Right,
or
exactly. Yeah.
Rebirth, Flashpoint. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was Rebirth or Flashpoint that actually started the whole Eobard Thawne going back and killing his mom to create the Flash type deal. I think it was Rebirth.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a lot there, which again, like, that stuff is so great, and everyone keeps complaining about, oh, is this a Flash movie or is this a Batman movie? The core of this movie is the Flash, and that's, yes, obviously we're Batman dorks. We love Batman, but this film still feels like a Flash film to me.
It really does, and it's like also like we've known it. We know that. It is a Flash movie where we use the character of the Flash and his abilities to team up with Batman and Supergirl. We know
Mhm.
that. That's the movie. It's a DC Universe movie where the Flash is the main character. And I have no problem with this. And like, for the people who are still like beating that dead horse of like,
I know.
oh, they should just call it a Batman movie. Okay, yeah, we got it. We heard that joke 2 years ago. It's done. It's
Yeah.
not funny anymore. You're very clever. Um, we know what we're getting with this movie, and if it's not your thing, that's fine. I can't freaking wait. And you're right, the emotional arc is completely Barry's. But like you said, I love the point you make about how it echoes Bruce's. And I love that that's the way the trailer starts, is with Bruce talking about how he lost his parents, and then the path it set him on, him trying, spending a lifetime fighting crime, trying to, hoping it could bring his parents back, but of course it never could. But Barry was able to do just that. and sort of Barry being able to do the one thing that Bruce never could, I think there's something really cool about that parallel, and I love that. And I think Keaton does a great job in that line reading. And
Hmm.
then when they cut to him and he's got the short hair, not when he's got the long hair and he opens up the, the vault, but when he's got the short hair, he looks so cool and he looks so good and the performance is there and it's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's funny, it never even dawned on me that like you've done what I've been trying to do for all these years, and I knew I couldn't do it. Like that never even occurred to me until he
Yeah.
said it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so obvious and it's so brilliant. Like, yeah. And not only that, we haven't even seen the conversation he has with Ben Affleck's Bruce. He's going to have this conversation with two Bruce Waynes about the death of the parents and him wanting to go back, and we assume Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne is going to warn him not to. But he's also going to understand why he does want to.
Mhm.
So it's a really cool dynamic that they're setting up for these two, for the Flash to interact with both of these Bruce Waynes, and see the journey he goes on with this. It is just an emotional journey.
Yeah, and I mean, and since you bring it up, then later on, kind of halfway through the trailer, we do check in with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, and he is warning Barry about what he's doing. And, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the line in front of me, but it's something about like, our scars make us who we are. You can't go back and change it.
Hmm.
You can't be defined by your tragedy or
It's something
something
like
like
you
that.
can't erase scars or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's another really great line, and like you said, it's sort of this cautionary tale from both Bruces coming at different angles from what Barry has done. Um, and I think Affleck nails that line. I think it's a beautifully written line, and I love it. And like that's such a great surprise too. And then intercut is, awesome Batfleck stuff. Him coming out of the Flying Fox on the Bat Cycle. There's this great shot towards the end where he's sort of swinging through the air away from an explosion, and you just see him move like Batman should move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like super agile with the cape behind him, and it's just a
Yeah.
really great quick action shot of Affleck's Batman. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I like that. So yeah, I love that we're getting both. We're getting a little bit of Affleck action, but at the same time, and let's be honest, when I say Affleck action, it's stuntman action, but it's fine. It's his version. Um, but then really getting that heart to heart with Affleck's Bruce Wayne as well. I think that that's really exciting, and I love what I'm hearing.
Well, and and just another example too of us knowing nothing about what's going on. We assume that that's like the first act action scene with Ben Affleck's Batman and Ezra's, or maybe even like the first scene of the movie for all we know. What the hell are they going up against that he's got the flying fox flying around with the bat cycle already? Like it's not a that's not a bring out for like a couple of muggers or robbers thing, So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very curious what is going on in that scene, and we know nothing about who they're fighting in that scene.
I know, and that's just, and that's exactly it. Is like again, they're cutting around it. We're
Yeah,
really only seeing Batman's place in that scene.
yeah. We don't see
So
anybody else, and
who else is there? What are they fighting against? What?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it looks kind of like a showstopper. And again, I mean, I would bet you dollars to donuts that yeah, it's the big opening action sequence. It just makes a lot of sense, but it looks really great.
Could you imagine if that's like a cold open type of thing, like
Oh
the
my
old
god. Yeah.
it's stupid me. I just think of like Lethal Weapon, like after the first film, they just went into like these cold open action sequences that set up the whole movie. You just are dumped right into the action, and that's what I'm
You know what
picturing.
Brendan would say.
Mel Gibson's Australian.
No. Well, yeah, that too. That too. But he was gonna say like Bond, just like Bond.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Bond.
But no, absolutely. I'd be down with that though. I like it. Can we talk for just a quick second about how the Batwing emerges from the ceiling of the
Hmm.
Batcave and unfolds?
Like a bat.
Oh my god. I
It's-
love it. I love it so much. It's so damn cool. I did not see that coming. Based on the old poster and based on the first trailer, you'd think, oh, it's just suspended there. It's just kind
yeah.
of hanging there. The fact that it actually comes down and unfurls
Hmm.
is so badass.
So much love went into the thought of doing this stuff. Like it was like that would have been the easy way. Just suspend it like it's always been, and just and even that would have been cool. It's
Oh,
not like,
absolutely. That's all I expected.
which it's kind of ironic to say that's the easy way to do it, but compared to this, like they went out of their way to really make everything really really cool. And I give Brendan credit. I think he's the one that brought it up that like we haven't even seen the Batmobile in action. We know the Batmobile's in this film.
They're selling a toy of it. I will say this right now. We know they're selling a toy of it. We have seen um in footage where Barry, pulls the dust
Yes,
cover
pulls
off
the
of it,
tarp off it.
right?
Yeah.
Um if we don't see it in action in the movie, that's going to be a huge miss.
Hmm.
And I have faith that that won't happen, but if it does, I'm saying right now that will be a huge bummer.
It would be pretty funny if we never got it, but they still sold toys for it and stuff just because
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Like
Batman.
if like if
I
if the
couldn't
only
even
time
blame
we
them.
see it is collecting dust in the Batcave, that is a miss.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't even run anymore. We can never get it fixed. Let's
Yep,
go.
yep. They need those two kids from Jurassic World. Hey, remember when we fixed up that Jeep with Grandpa?
And you just change the battery.
And then cut to driving a Jeep. That's all you need, man. I like that movie. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I
And
love it. Yeah.
but yeah, it is true. We have not seen the Batmobile in action. But we kind of mentioned it earlier, and you see it in this trailer. There's an amazing shot where the Batwing is taken down in midair by a Kryptonian. I don't think it's Zod. I think it's one of his henchmen. That's what it looks like to me.
I always forget his name, but it's the big guy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not even gonna
Non, but
pretend.
not non.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it seems like he takes out the Batwing, and there's that amazing shot of Batman jumping out of the Batwing, gliding down with his wings cape, and then the Batwing. They don't show impact, but it does not seem like it's going to survive the film.
Doesn't look good. And
Doesn't look good.
if I remember correctly, that shot of the Kryptonian destroying the Batwing, to me, that's got to be a homage to the scene in Man of Steel where the Kryptonian does the same thing to one of the fighter jets. It seemed
It f-
very, it felt very for lack of a better term, a homage to it, or at
oh,
least a
totally.
nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. But Batman jumps out. And so if the Batwing does not survive, I imagine this is sometime mid-film.
Hmm.
So to me, that means they're going to need another mode of transportation after the Batwing is destroyed, and that's where, fingers crossed, I assume it's the Batmobile.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost wondering if like we have it wrong and that's the third act. And
And
that
it is certainly possible. Absolutely. Like there is a lot of smoke and mirrors and sleight of hand with these trailers.
hey,
It
I
is
still
possible. But
wishful thinking is
but,
Ben
but, 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 but,
Affleck's. Go ahead, sorry.
we know the desert has both berries because we saw them in the last trailer in the desert action scene together. We have not seen the Dark Flash yet. And my hunch is the Dark Flash does not emerge until the third act.
Hmm.
That's where my mind is like, we know both berries are in the desert. And so I think that the desert is the big end of second act action extravaganza before we go into the third act, where the Dark Flash emerges. And then that is who, that takes us into the end.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that confuse me, and I try really not to even think about this kind of stuff. But there are two things that um are messing me up. One is the set photos of Supergirl that look like she's in a city.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
which kind of reminds me of the scene with Ben Affleck. The
Okay.
other thing is if you're going by the Man of Steel timeline, it goes desert then Metropolis.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm hopeful, but man, how awesome would it be if somehow like the final act is Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, and Sasha Kaye all somehow there. Like Barry screws up the timeline even more, where the worlds are colliding somehow, and oh, there you go, that's the tagline: "Worlds collide." Like somehow that's the final act, and I don't think that's the case. But I am really messed up with this timeline of the film based on some things that we know, or kind of know, or don't really know anything about. So I try not to think about this stuff too much because I just want to go into the film and watch it for what it is. I don't want to watch the film and say, "Oh, this scene hasn't happened yet. Oh, this scene hasn't happened yet," because that does take me out of it.
I know, same here. Like like you, I don't try to decode the trailer and like put the movie together in my head. It just happens naturally when we podcast about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't help ourselves. Because then
Yeah.
we're like, well, then this scene, and then maybe that scene is because of this, and then it just starts to happen. But you're right. I tend to not do it, especially if it's something I'm not podcasting about, because I'd rather just go on the ride and see how it all happens. Oh, one of my action figures committed suicide. That's very sad. Um,
With this film, we've both been talking a lot about how like we're just enjoying this ride though. Like I feel like this ride is so much fun that I feel like we're both kind of doing things we don't normally do because we're just enjoying talking about this and enjoying all of the setup for this film because we haven't had this in so long.
Exactly. I completely agree. Yeah. Like we've all said that the hype for this has been unlike anything that we've had in a very long time. And I think that, yeah, we're just enjoying that hype. And then with that hype comes speculation, comes watching the trailer and over again, watching the little teases, and it just all comes with it. And I don't have the wherewithal to try and like limit myself and be like, don't get too excited. Don't try to do this. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to go along for it. I'm just going to enjoy the moment, enjoy the excitement. And like, then the movie's going to be the movie. So I hope I'm not setting myself up for a fall. But like you said, it's just so fun to be excited about it. So like, embrace that fun and embrace everything that comes with it.
Yeah, because I feel like even if we were trying to settle ourselves down, and then the film is lackluster, which I don't think it's going to be, but like if we were let down by the film, we didn't even get to enjoy ourselves leading up to a letdown. So at least let's enjoy the whole journey, and then if we're let down, we're let down. Whatever. At least we had fun getting there. But it's a hard thing to balance. That's why I'm just trying to try to enjoy it. And these trailers have been so good that I can't imagine being let down by this film in any way.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'll say there's, we get again the setup of about Barry losing both of his parents, and you hear a female voice saying it. It could be Supergirl, but it also could be Iris. We
I
have
thought
not seen
Iris.
Iris, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it because, like, again, they're selling the Flash meets Batman meets Supergirl, like that's what's going to get butts in seats, not Iris West.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate that. I'm like, I think that's Iris because he's going to confide in her and her understanding what he's been through.
Yeah.
So he talks about going back in time to save his parents, and he ends up breaking the entire universe. And then, yeah, we get some really great, again, Man of Steel throwbacks, which I think is really cool. There's a lot of homage to that movie. And again, if this is, I mean, I do think this is kind of the final movie in the continuity. I do like the full circleness of it.
Absolutely. Like to be able to watch, if you just wanted to watch, Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, and this, I feel like that's a pretty good example of, just four films that would tie in pretty well together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really, just watching Man of Steel to this would work.
Mm-hmm.
It seems, and yeah, the fact that Man of Steel is actually almost to the day 10 years old when this film comes out is pretty cool too.
I know, that is crazy.
Yeah.
There's a moment where Supergirl asks Barry if he knows what the symbol means. Speaking of Man of Steel callbacks, and the Flash says it means hope, right? So I love that, again, that nod to Man of Steel. And then you even hear Supergirl say, okay, I will help you fight Zod.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a moment where it seems like it might be the killing blow to Zod, where she goes after him with like this big long
Yep.
post. And it's pretty badass. And I don't know if that's, I wouldn't think that's the end because, they probably wouldn't in a trailer, but still it's some pretty badass action there.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would love if she just breaks his neck like Kal-El does.
Really go full circle.
Yeah, like why not just embrace it? Like this
No
is the
matter
only way it could
what
have happened.
timeline,
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what timeline, Zod's broken neck is always going to be inevitability.
Or this is going on a complete tangent. Or say no, I can't kill him, and then he just kills everybody else around her, and kills a bunch of civilians, and then we're
And then
back to
and they go, see.
this is why I had to do it.
Should we talk about Let's Get Nuts?
Sure, let's get nuts.
Because that kind of comes next in the trailer is Supergirl's gonna help them fight, and you see her flying alongside the Batwing. Also, I think it's badass. I've seen a little bit of like shade about like the effects of her flying. I think it looks great. I don't know what these
Really?
people are. I don't know what these people are seeing.
I'm so honestly, and I know I'm guilty of it sometimes too with the CGI stuff. I'll be like, that doesn't look great, but it never is to the point where I'm like, that looks terrible. I can't believe this. Like, yes, sometimes things look wonky, but this, like, I don't know. I feel like if people don't like a movie, the CGI is terrible no matter what, or if they don't want to like it.
Yes, there are a lot of people who don't want to like this.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a big part.
Yes. And it's like if you're looking forward to a movie, you don't even notice bad CGI. If you're wanting to hate on it, you're going to pick apart every little thing. And I get it. Yes, there are things that look CGI. Just because something looks CGI doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's just, again, you're seeing things in like images instead of in motion. There's a lot of different factors. But as far as her flying, I didn't notice anything bad as far as her flying.
Yeah, same. I think it looks great. But then, then it cuts to Michael Keaton in the bat suit, sans cowl, where he says, "Do you want to get nuts? All right, let's get nuts." And the bats fly behind him. I will reserve my comments. What do you think?
Well, my comments are pretty much what you said, so I'll let you say it.
Okay, it's a bit much. I get, for the people who like rolled their eyes, I get it, and I don't even blame you. The way I see it is like, yeah, is it necessary? Of course not. But hey, we're getting the return of Keaton's Batman. Go for it. Why the hell not? F it. That's how I feel. Like
exactly.
It's it's a bit much, but to hell with it. I'm all in. You want to do the callback? Do the callback.
Logic be damned. With anything, just have fun, embrace the insanity of the fact that Michael Keaton's Batman is now running around with the Flash. Like, none of this makes sense, but just have fun. And yeah, I said to you I would have preferred it not be in the trailer, but was it you or was it Eric that said I'd rather them put the little nods and stuff like that in the trailer than major plot points, and I agree with that. So
that was Eric.
Yeah, so like that makes sense to me. Where it's like, yeah, get this cheesy stuff out of the way, where it might take us out of the film while we're watching it. But I still, and it's just a fun way to sell the trailer too.
It's fun, completely unnecessary, but it's fun. And again, for the people who think it's one step too far, I get that. No argument.
And honestly, I don't even care if they cut it out of the film. Like, just make it for the trailer, just to sell the film. If for some reason it doesn't make it into the film, but I'm assuming it will be in the film because the film is pretty much done. So they usually don't edit the trailers with that kind of stuff prior. Who knows?
Well, unless it's Justice League.
Let's not. We could go on
which
I've already thrown shade about Zod's neck being.
Oh my god, I'm breaking out into hives right now. That's too much. Too much PTSD.
Since you brought it up, I have one question for you, and I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk about whenever these films come out, are they gonna treat Zack Snyder's Justice League as canon, or are they gonna treat Whedon's Justice League as canon? For this film, do you think there's any way they can't treat Zack Snyder's Justice League as canon when the whole point of this is time travel, and the Flash didn't time travel in Whedon's?
That is an excellent point. I'm
very curious
about it, but you're right.
Like, how are they going to even treat? Like, is he just going to accidentally time travel in the beginning of this film and then go, "Oh, I can time travel"? That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess the answer will be whether or not they treat it in this film like it's the first time.
Yeah, and that's going to be kind of drawing a line in the sand one way or the other, which might piss off some people.
No, that's true. I didn't really think about that, but it's a good question, because for me, I didn't worry about it because, like, if you look at like Aquaman,
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. All they mention is Aquaman helped defeat Steppenwolf. That's all they say. And you go, doesn't matter what version, he helped defeat Steppenwolf. And I kind of took this as the same as like, oh, yeah, it's Ezra Miller as the Flash, palling around with Ben Affleck's Batman. So it doesn't matter which version of Justice League they
Exactly.
met in. It doesn't matter. But
Like,
we'll see how they handle the time travel as to whether, oh my God, I can time travel, or if
yeah.
it's if it's already a foregone conclusion when they start.
Yeah, like for me personally, obviously I'd rather Zack's be canon, but
Of course.
I'd
Yeah.
much rather them keep it vague than commit to, oh, this is the first time I've ever time traveled, because that's a little harder to headcanon away.
Well, that's true. And I also like appreciate how they did it in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where even though he doesn't do it until the end of the movie, leading up to it, they acknowledge that he already knows he can.
You're right, he has. So you can then keep it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's true. So you can say like you could kind of keep it the same way.
exactly. Where he
Very true.
acknowledges he knows he can do this, but
But
he
how
knows he
much can he do it?
shouldn't, and then some for whatever reason he changes his mind.
Good point. I forgot about that whole lead up to it.
Yeah, because I got one rule, right? You got to break your rule.
And he even does it a little bit. He even says it before they resurrect Superman, where he's like, "Strange things happen when I go faster than the speed of light," something like that.
Yeah. We get that money shot of both Flashes and Supergirl jumping out of the Batwing and sliding to the forefront. I've seen this shot take some grief. Again, I think it's badass as hell. I think they look great. I'm into it.
Yeah, in a movie that's gonna have this much CGI, you sometimes just have to go with it and just.
Well, but again, like it's like
Oh, I
does
don't.
it look
I'm not even saying it looks bad. I'm just saying that for the people that genuinely think it looks bad, at some point you got to just get over it.
right? But I'm like, it doesn't look bad. That's the
No,
thing.
I
It
don't think it
doesn't
does. I
look
don't.
bad. Like, and
Yeah.
I think some people are just searching for like, they don't want to like it, and fair enough, fine. But like I think it looks good. Does it look like CGI? Sure. I've seen enough movies where I'm like, of course, yes,
Because
it's
it is,
CGI, but
but
like
it's
it
CGI
still
because
looks
it's
good.
money.
Like I just don't understand the, oh my God, it looks bad. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Even the films I love to death, there are moments where I can admit, yeah, that looks a little iffy. Like even the people, like, let's be honest, the people that hate this film already, I can point out certain CGI moments of films that they love that they will look past.
Listen,
Not every film is perfect.
I can do it with nearly every DC movie, no matter
Oh
who
yeah,
directed it.
I just don't care
You can
because
you can pick out some wonky effect scenes in pretty much any superhero movie, and yes, you're right. The deciding factor is how much you want to overlook it and how
Mhm.
much you don't.
Yep.
So, there is a moment where the two Barrys are arguing, where our Barry is like we can't fix this, and the other Barry goes, no, nobody dies. So we're seeing some conflict there. And I do feel like one of the berries goes rogue and that becomes our Dark Flash. That's kind of where I think that's going. Um, we also get that moment again where Supergirl is carrying someone up to the sky. In this trailer, it seems a little more obvious that it's Barry, one of the berries. It does look like him.
That's what I got from this trailer. Where in the last trailer I was like, oh, I wonder who that is. It seems like they're making it out to be Barry.
Yeah, like in the first trailer, I thought it might be Superman.
I was really holding out hope that it was possible, but I
Yeah.
also felt like if that was Superman, people would have been losing their shit if there was even a possibility that it looked like Superman. You know how people are; they'll freeze it, they'll zoom in, they'll find some way
Yeah.
to say that it is. But and it'd be cool if it was.
Right.
I
But
just
you're
don't know
right.
how.
It seems pretty likely that it's Barry. Um, what about the amazing shot where Batman shields the Flash from bullets with his cape?
Awesome. And at first, when I saw it, because like I watched it on my phone, and I'm like, oh, was that was that Affleck or was that Keaton? And it's Keaton, which is
Oh,
even
it's 100% Keaton. Yeah,
yeah.
no.
But I guess because I didn't expect that from Keaton's cape, like that comic book again, because I'm so used to seeing Keaton in the Keaton universe, seeing him do this stuff in this universe is just so cool, and it's just
Yeah.
so unexpected.
Yeah. Exactly. It's awesome. There's an amazing shot where Barry is being struck by lightning, like kind of strapped to a chair, which also feels like a very overt Flashpoint nod.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we'll see how that factors in. There's the tragic shot of Keaton's Batman on his knees.
Yeah, that is the one that's like, whoa, what is going on there? And that's where it hit me like, are we gonna see Keaton's Batman die?
No, please no, please no.
Which I had like flashbacks to No Way Home where I was like, oh my god, are they gonna kill Toby? Like that's what it felt like.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a very good point. And I felt exactly the same way. I was like, don't do it. Don't bring him
Yeah.
back just to kill him.
Yep.
Um, and then it's that Kryptonian going after the Batwing, where Batman jumps out and is able to glide down with his wings, and the Batwing looks like it is not going to make it. And then I love the title card where we go through the Keaton Batman logo, the Affleck Batman logo, the Supergirl logo, finally into the Flash logo.
Just to touch on what we were talking about with her bringing the Flash up to the sun, it looks like Barry's wearing the same outfit he's wearing when he's doing the Flashpoint, getting his powers back type of deal.
Oh,
I don't know the time frame of what is going on or how that's happening or when that's happening, but it does look like that's what he's wearing if it is Barry.
yeah.
But yet,
Yep.
I love the symbols. I'm sorry that I kind of ran over that.
That's okay. You went backwards. It's fine. It's fine.
The symbol. I love how they did the symbols morphing into the Flash symbol at the end, and or not morphing, just transitioning. I thought it was so cool that they put all four, because they really didn't have to put Batfleck's symbol in it, because let's be honest, as much as I love Ben Affleck's Batman, he is not the focal point of this movie like
Oh God,
Keaton's
no.
Batman is.
No, absolutely not.
But it does seem like they put that there to show you, like, at some point we're going from the Ben Affleck Batman to the Keaton Batman, and then we're getting Supergirl. Like they're doing it for a reason, and I just love. I'm a weird like symbol nerd. I just love seeing logos and symbols. Like I as stupid
we
as it is,
we
like,
all have our kinks. It's fine.
it's like
I'm not
even
here
when
to judge.
like when I buy shirts and stuff, like I don't buy T-shirts with people's faces on them. I have a weird thing with like I'd rather just have logos and symbols, and I don't want words or faces on my T-shirts. And the merchandise for this film has been off the charts with the like the Flash logo with the bat symbol behind it, like all that stuff, and I just love all of it.
Yeah. Nope. I agree. I think and it's such a fun nod. And listen. I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel, but like for me, the moment I said it is if it's not just a Flash movie, it's a DC Universe movie. Once you embrace that, man, it's so exciting. It's a DC Universe starring the Flash, and that's great. So, yeah, we get the symbols, we get the Flash title card, and then we get the little button at the end, which is all of them in the Batwing. This is my hunch is this is when they go on the Supergirl rescue mission to break her out, because now it's nighttime. They're dropping down into God knows where. And so we've got both Barrys. They've got their parachutes on, and they ask Batman where his is, and he just jumps out. And I do love the Flash's reaction of just, woo! Like he's so impressed. And yeah, Batman diving down while the Batwing is silhouetted against the moon is just a totally badass little money shot at the end there.
And yeah, it's funny because my eyes go right to the right of the screen with the characters floating down. I missed the Batwing in the silhouette of the moon numerous times before I realized that it was there.
I mean, it is more subtle than what in 1989.
Yeah, but it's still so cool.
It is there nonetheless, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a cool punchline for the end of the trailer. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's great. So I think it's a great trailer. Again, I think they did an awesome job of giving us enough new stuff to geek out about, to get it excited about, without giving away what feels like too much. I do think they're still preserving a lot of secrets, a lot of surprises, and that's great. I hope they can keep it up for the next 2 months. That's my biggest concern, because we talked about it a little bit with Eric and Brendan of like, they're probably still going to do a third trailer. And none of us need it. At least none of us DC nerds need it, because we've already made up our minds. But for the general audience, they do that last push a couple weeks out. And so they're going to do another trailer. And it's like, resist the urge, preserve it. So that way we can all go on June 16th and get blown away. But so far, so good as far as giving us trailers that give us a lot to be excited about, while I still think not giving away the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next 2 months, or even tonight when these reactions drop. I hope there's not a bunch of jerks that are just going to go out there and start ruining everything, because it's going to be hard to avoid that. Like, everyone's like, "I'll just stay off social media, stay off everything." Yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. I just, I'll be honest. Like, sometimes it's just not even worth the hassle of trying to stay away from all that stuff. If I see it, I see it. At this point, I,
Well,
I don't know.
I'll be honest. I already know some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it is what it is. It's a occupational hazard with what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. And yeah, like you said, like I feel like my my life got better when I stopped getting too bent out of shape about such things. I still try to avoid it, but when I don't, or when I can't, I'm like, oh well, so be it.
Yeah, like
You
I'd
know,
always,
I
I'd
can't,
always
I
rather
can't.
not. But
Right.
yeah, unfortunately, I've just accepted that there are people out there that are going to ruin stuff.
For sure. And again, the things I know aren't people trying to ruin stuff. It's more just, I think,
Hearsay from your end
things
of it. Yeah.
things that you hear from other folks,
Mm-hmm.
and again, none of it is, I think, there's no malice behind it. It's not trying to spoil it, which I do believe that there will be people who are doing that, who are trying to spoil it because they
Mm-hmm.
want this movie to fail. DC fans, like, it's great. Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, for any of the things that I've been privy to, it's all in fun, and it's people who are excited, and all that's cool. And again, like, I'm not too upset about it, because I'm sure it will not affect how much I enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I'm just excited that I'm very jealous that people are probably wrapping up the film just about now. We're at about 2.5 hours since they went in.
I know, and I literally just opened Twitter
I
just in
know.
case,
I was curious,
in
but
case we got any.
I'm pretty sure they allotted 2 hours and 45 minutes. I don't know if that means that the film is 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that was the time frame they were given for the screening.
Got it. And maybe there's like a quick little Q&A afterwards, or
Exactly.
yeah, who knows, whatever.
Sign this disclosure and
Well,
do not. I mean, I'm sure they do have that, right?
oh, I'm sure they sign NDAs, but it is worth noting, since I think we're good on the trailer. I think we both agree. I think we see eye to eye in the trailer. Great trailer, great second trailer, and God bless them for finding the right amount of new stuff to give us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But we are still just shy of 2 months out from this movie coming out, and they're showing it in its entirety at CinemaCon, and they did not put an embargo on reactions. And so everybody who's watching it tonight gets to tweet out and share their reactions of the movie.
So
And
you know
that
more about
is
this
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just have this is me just asking you as a fan, because you understand this stuff more than I do. How does an NDA work along with social media reactions? Is there like you can talk about it, but not about this, not about this, not about this? Like, is it literally like itemized, or is it, hey, don't be a dick?
I mean, no, it's a legal document.
Yeah.
And so when they say reactions, there are stipulations to that. Is you can talk about how you felt about the movie, what did you like, you just
Hmm.
can't say anything spoilery.
Okay.
and you can't say anything spoilery until the embargo for reviews lifts. So there's like a
Okay.
reaction embargo, and then there's a review embargo.
Got it.
And they're two separate things. And so I'm sure that there is a review NDA that they're all signing, but they're allowed to tweet reactions.
Mhm.
And most of these people are professionals. Like, even though they are cinema owners, there are, there are a lot of
There are a lot of press people there.
press people who got to go as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they know how it works, and they know what they can and can't say on a reaction. So yeah, but the fact that they are going to be allowed to react to this movie 2 months out, or again, just shy of 2 months out, shows how confident WB is in this movie. And everybody's been saying it, right? Like the test screenings, apparently the scores were off the charts, and James Gunn talked about how great it is, and David Zaslav talked about how great it is, and like, by all accounts, Tom Cruise said how great it is. By all accounts, it's a great movie. And the fact that WB says, nope, tweet your reactions 2 months out, go for it, shows just they know they've got the goods. And that, again, inspires a lot of confidence.
Well, yeah, because like we say, like, was it Zaslav that says like he's seen it 3 times and it's amazing, it's the best superhero movie he's ever seen. It's kind of like, well, yeah, what's he supposed to say? But also the fact that they're showing it today opens it up to people saying, well, it's not as good as everyone's making it out to be, but it's still pretty good.
Right,
Like,
right.
you're opening yourself up to a negative reaction by
You are
doing that.
taking a risk. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's exciting in and of itself. And I also want to point out, now I'm trying to find the exact wording of how this was worded. They essentially said, this is not the final product. It's not locked yet. Did you see?
I did see that. I didn't see where it originated, but basically my understanding is that the movie itself is locked, but they're still
Like brushing
working
up the
on some of the
effects?
effects.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like an out where they're like, it's technically not the
Well,
product.
they could do that too, but
Yeah. So I was curious
I don't think they would show it
if it wasn't the actual
to
film.
this many people.
Yes.
Right?
If the ending is
they were
completely
tinkering.
different.
Right, if they were tinkering with the ending or something. So again, I couldn't find the actual thing. I could just find people commenting about it, but that was the impression I got, is that they were still finalizing some of the effects, but the movie is the movie.
Got you.
So, yeah. But it'll be fun to read those reactions. I'm sure they will all be ecstatic, because they always are. But it doesn't matter, because I'm so excited anyway, so it's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how positive they are with the way everything has been so positive. Like, are they going to say, like what I said before, are they going to be like, it is an excellent superhero movie, it's not the best superhero movie? Like, I don't even want to see that at this point, because that's
Right.
almost
Tap
a
the
letdown.
brakes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird, because they are setting themselves up for failure. Like, how could this film live up to those expectations at this point? But they are so confident that it's almost hard to not get wrapped up into it.
No, I absolutely agree. And you're right. But I'm not too worried about the reactions. My hunch is they are going to be all very positive, because they're seeing it 2 months early, and they're seeing it at a packed theater with all these people, and the energy will be there. So, like you said, I just
disaster if it's not.
Oi, 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 oi. Oh man. Well, stranger things have happened.
But no, let's keep it positive and end on that. Like, I'm not expecting them to be negative. I just think at the way, it's always in the back of our heads as DC fans, unfortunately.
Nope, exactly. We've been burned too many times. Well, there you go. The Flash is coming. The promotion just keeps on rolling on. People are seeing it tonight. It'll be fun to see what they say about it tomorrow, but I can't wait for this movie. It is my, not to give anything away for the Real Fan Summer Movie Preview, but it's my number one anticipated movie for the summer. Shocker, I know. Everybody take your jaws up off the floor. It's a shocker, but I can't wait for this movie. This is going to be like, not only is it a babysitter movie where we pay a babysitter so Catherine and I can go, this is a movie where I'm going to be like, Catherine, can I please go see it again? Can you watch Harley so I can go see it again? Because which I've only pulled that trigger once before, and that was for the Batman in March when Harley was like a couple
Yeah.
weeks old. Um, but yeah, like that's how excited I am about this. Where I don't think one theater viewing will be enough for me, unless, like I said, unless we we get a curveball and it's terrible. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I actually just said to my wife earlier when I was showing her the trailer, I was like, "Hey, this might be one where I really want to go see it." I'm about like an hour and a half out of New York City, and I'm about an hour and a half from Atlantic City, two of the best IMAX theaters around.
Oh,
And I'm
nice.
like, this might be one where I really want to go and see it in IMAX. And she's like, "Am I coming?" I'm like, "If you want to come, you're more than welcome to come." Like, I'm like, but I'm like, it's hard for you to even come to the mall to go see these movies. Like, if you like, she's like, "No," she's like, let's get a babysitter and go do it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." I'm like, because I talk about it a lot. Lincoln Square 13 in New York is the biggest IMAX screen in the country. It's actually bigger than the Chinese theater. Um, the Chinese theater is the second biggest, and
Oh, okay.
and the IMAX in Atlantic City is also an old. It used to be a 70 millimeter IMAX. Now it's digital, but it's still a really great IMAX screen. Like it's weird. You have to buy like tickets through Ticketmaster to go to the one in Atlantic City. Like it's really bizarre. Um,
Hmm.
but I really want to go see it in one of those. Maybe not the first viewing because I probably won't be able to like line that up, but it's one that I'm really excited about. Me with the aspect ratio, I'm an aspect ratio nerd. This one is one that's going to fill almost the whole screen on your TV. It's not quite, you know, it's not quite the 70 millimeter IMAX ratio, but it's basically the digital IMAX ratio, I believe. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
a tall ratio. I think it's what Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad was filmed in. It's like that weird, digital IMAX that they got going on now. So I'm really excited about seeing it. Hopefully in one of those theaters.
Awesome. Do it. I support you. Um, Very cool. I mean, yeah, for years when I was still living in California, I would go see every DC movie at the Chinese theater.
Hmm.
But I think the last one was Aquaman. I think that was the last one I got to because that was when I moved to China and now I live in Florida. But it was a fun tradition while it lasted. Anyway, exciting stuff. The Flash is coming. It's great to get this promotion. It's great to see that confidence. I do have two quick emails that relate to what we're talking about, so I want to address them, and that way I can get them out of the mailbox as well. Because they have to with what we're talking about. I'm not even going to put in the little Wayne Manor mailbox intro because it's just part of the conversation. But this one here is from Ricky Manium, and it says, "Hey, Holy BatCast. The 10th anniversary for Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox is coming up, and you guys should review it in preparation for The Flash." That's all I wanted to say. Keep up the great work. Love, Ricky. Thank you, Ricky. And I agree. I have it on my list. It will be a great thing to revisit in preparation for The Flash. So you can count on it. I just wanted to say that. And this other one kind of goes with what we were just talking about showing the movie at CinemaCon and allowing reactions. This is from Imad Alaguz. It says, "Hey team, WB is screening The Flash next week at CinemaCon on April 25th, which is tonight. Um, that's nearly 3 months before the movie's release. Well, 2, but yes. I mean, why would they do that and risk leaking the movie's plot and cameos? Is this a power move or are they that confident? What do you think? Best regards, Imad." Thank you, Imad, and always good to hear from you. And I think we just kind of talked about it, but Joe, yeah, what do you think? Why do it now, 2 months out, when you could spoil a bunch of stuff?
Honestly, I think it's both. Like I don't think the studio loses anything by people buzzing about the cameos and the spoilers. If anything, it's creating more buzz. So, as much as we don't want to be spoiled, sadly, I don't think that's a bad thing for the studio. Like, the more we're discussing these spoilers or cameos and all that, it's just creating buzz, and they're obviously confident in whatever could be spoiled to the point where they don't care. They just want people in the seats watching this film.
Yeah, I agree, and they know they've got the goods. I think it is all confidence, it's all buzz, and kind of like we've talked about in the past is this movie needs to work.
Hmm.
There is far too much riding on this movie, which again makes it ironic what happened with Ezra, because the whole movie is on Ezra's shoulders. But that aside, they know the movie works. They love the movie. They need to build the buzz. And so they're going all in. And last year, do you know what movie they showed 3 months out at CinemaCon? Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
And I most people liked that movie. It made a couple dollars.
A little
At
bit.
least a couple. At least a couple. So thank you, Imad. Guess what, Joe?
Oh,
The
did they come
reactions
out?
are out.
Oh boy.
Let me share a couple. This one is from Rob Keys. It says, just watch The Flash at CinemaCon. It has some stuff in it that you will not believe, and it showcases much more of Barry Allen's powers. It is indeed one of DC's best, and it fits nicely as a bridge story between the old and new DC franchises. It's also the funniest DC movie.
Well, it's funny. I just saw that the embargo lifts at 10:30, so he might get in trouble.
There's a few here I'm seeing already.
Okay, so maybe that's just the assumption because I just saw that the embargo lifts. So no, you're right. I'm seeing some too. So yeah.
This one's from Chris Hayner. It says, I don't know what to say about The Flash other than it delivered more than I could have hoped. The acting is beyond great. Keaton delivers everything that you want. Supergirl is my new favorite superhero. I'm genuinely shocked this movie meets and surpasses the hype. I never expected that. And this is from Scott Menzel. It says, The Flash is hands down one of the best superhero films of all time. No joke. The Flash is the ultimate movie-going experience. It has a little bit of everything: action, emotion, heart, humor, and plenty of nostalgia. Ezra Miller is phenomenal as dual Barry Allens. Michael Keaton and Sasha Calle are very good also. This is a film that audiences will be watching over and over again. Oh, and avoid all the spoilers you can for this movie because there's some truly incredible surprises that will blow you away. I cannot wait to see this again.
And all this does is just make me upset that we gotta wait a month and a half now. Like I'm excited, but oh man, like how am I gonna go a month and a half knowing other people have seen it?
Yep.
But it's awesome. It really is. Yeah, I'm seeing all positive stuff from people that, honestly, from people that are a little skeptical of DC in general too.
Here's from JoeBlow.com, just out of The Flash at CinemaCon. Believe the hype, folks. Truly one of the great superhero movies. Ezra Miller ×2, Sasha Calle, and Michael Keaton. It's pretty perfect and one of the best films of this type you could ever hope to see. From Eric Eisenberg, I didn't know what to make of the hype before The Flash, but wow. The movie is an absolute blast from end to end. It's hilarious, thrilling, emotional, and surprising. What an incredible way to launch the next chapter of DC movies. Get excited.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yep. So, I mean, I could read a bunch to you, but I'm sure you guys can find them. Oh, this is from Jermaine Lucier. Yup, The Flash is as good as rumored. It's Back to the Future meets Spider-Man No Way Home with all the humor and heart of the former and the action and surprises of the latter. If anything, it might be a tad too ambitious, but it's always just incredibly satisfying, heartwarming, and fun.
Yeah, I'm seeing fun, nostalgic, hilarious, uh, and emotional.
Yep. Eric Davis, DC's The Flash is tremendous. Forget DC. It is without a doubt among the best superhero films ever made. An all-timer. Inventive storytelling, fantastic action sequences, great cast, so many nerdy details. I'm in tears at the end. Everything you want from a superhero film and more. Oh, I want to say it now. I want to say it now.
You don't have any hookups anymore, huh?
Not in Orlando. This is the price I pay for moving to Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. The Flash is pretty great, and it makes sense to me now why DC didn't shelve it. Michael Keaton is chef's kiss. I didn't realize how much I needed Keaton's Batman in my life again. Some really emotional moments here. Sasha Calle is awesome. I want to see more of her. That was from Jenna Bush. So anyway, lots of great reactions. They're all what we hoped to hear, which is exciting news. And I can't wait for this movie, Joe.
What's today's the 25th?
Today's April 25th. June 16th will be here before we know it.
Yeah. Days do go fast.
It does. It goes way fast. And I got a lot going on over the next 6 weeks, so that'll make it go even faster. So anyway, let's wrap this up. Let's call it a night. I'm glad we were able to waste enough time chatting that we got to some reactions.
And I guess that confirms the runtime is probably about 2 hours.
About two and a half.
Minutes.
Yeah, about 2.5, which I'm good with.
Yep, me too.
Oh, count me in. All right, Joe. Thank you again for doing this somewhat short notice, but I should have said at this beginning, it's kind of your fault.
Yeah, it was. And I just asked as a fan. I'm like, hey, are you recording tonight? Because I wanted to hear your reactions, but I lucked out that the other guys couldn't make it, and so I got to talk to you about it firsthand, which was fun.
That was great. Yeah, you were like, oh, you're gonna record tonight, and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna wait till the weekend because I just dropped an episode, and I feel bad for clogging up people's feeds with my nonsense. But then, like, yeah, when stuff started coming out, and it wasn't just the trailer, and it was the poster, and it was the little tidbits about Aquaman and Blue Beetle, and I was like, damn it, I think we have to do it tonight. So I'm glad you made the time. It's always a pleasure, Joe. I appreciate it. So,
yeah, thank you so much for asking me and for telling Eric to take a hike so I could be on here without him because
we will destroy him. I should also say though, but because you're getting 2 episodes this week, I'll probably take this weekend off, and then
I think you're allowed.
Sometime next week you'll get something new. But anyway, yeah, tell our friends where they can find you when you're talking to Eric.
You can find me on, and he always makes fun of me because we're on The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast with Eric Carter.
I always forget the subtitle too. I always just go with The Fire Rises.
Yeah, because I said like Batman The Fire Rises one time, and I'm like, that is not the name of the podcast. But yeah,
The Batman Rises.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can find us on there where we do we don't do the news or anything like that. We try to take a topic and cover that. And ironically, you got the email about Flashpoint Paradox. Eric's gonna laugh because he literally texted me about 45 minutes before we started recording. Hey, Flashpoint's 10-year anniversary. We should
no.
So now so he's gonna be like, son of a
I'm gonna send someone to break his shin with a crowbar.
Right?
Like that's from Holy BatCast.
We called it first. So I'm gonna tell Eric to tweet it out that we're gonna cover it before this episode drops.
No,
but
that's evil.
So you'll find me on there talking about all sorts of stuff leading up to the Flash 2. We are gonna cover the Flash obviously when that comes out, but and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd as jforn11. And you can find me on Facebook as Joe Fornarotto, FORNAROTTO.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. I already told you guys where to follow me, but thank you as always for joining us on Holy BatCast. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts, and rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. We would love that. So if you like the show, something you could do, it's simple, it's free, and it's easy, is to just rate and review us. Leave us a nice review, and that would be great. You can visit holybatcast.com or again, find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. I know we just did a little mini version tonight, but on the next episode, I'm sure we'll do a little email catch-up. So if you've got anything, any thoughts to share about the Flash or Batman or whatever, send those to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gore Venkateswar. He did our theme music first, Joe. And you can find his work at gbtunes.com. And don't forget to check out manscaped.com, do some shopping, but please use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. Well, that'll do it. On behalf of Joe, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
You're strapped to your parachutes.
Where's yours?